At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
I knew the game would be close. The point spread was 3. I mean, Vegas knows more than we think most of the time. But, I thought that was a mistake in the game. I think he'll take responsibility. But here's the thing. My takeaway from this game and maybe from this season is that the lack of consistency and effort shows, because today we played with a lot of effort, a lot of emotion, a lot of enthusiasm.
Yep. Today proved that Hornsby probably will transfer, says Frederick Clemens. I don't know. Whatever he does, I wish him the best. If he wants to stay here, he lost the backup job. I mean, we say that. We know the depth chart's going to come out on Monday, and he's going to be listed as the number 2. Or we'll see the right? Or Cade Fortin, assuming KJ's good to go. Now, if he's back. Okay. All right. Let's bring him back on. That's a good-looking ear hole there. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't hang up. They disconnected on me.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So next year they need to win 8 or he's gone.
At least 8. Because what's the point of keeping a mediocre coach for 5, 6, 7 years? You're just digging yourself a deeper hole.
On another note, KJ needs to start sliding. That needs to be emphasized for next year. Son, slide. We know that you can go through there. We know you will.
All right, here we go. We're having some technical issues here with OBS. Don't know why it shut off my microphone. That was weird. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Yo, what's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans? Welcome to Touch Talk with Ty, the Monday after show. Please, if you've got any questions or comments, hey, let me know in the comments section. Give me some thoughts. I know everyone's got something to say. Everyone's got something to say. That video, I hope you guys enjoyed these little I really hope you guys are enjoying the call-in shows, because those content, the content that you guys are helping to provide to make that show that much more interesting has just been a blast. It's been fun, man. Kind of wish we'd done it a little sooner, but I'm glad that we did them, and now we've got basketball coming up, and once we get into conference play, I'm sure we'll do some more of those call-ins. Shoot, we may do them. We'll probably do them in the Maui. We'll do the post-game call-ins in the Maui tournament. So, shout out to Apex Tattoo Studio, the show's one of the 2 sponsors. You guys are looking to get a little ink done? Can be anything, no matter how big or small. Give them a call today. 615 West Oak Street in Rogers, Arkansas. 72756. 479-278-2694. Again, that's 479-278-2694. That's Apex Tattoo Studio. And, of course, Direct Service Overhead, who offers same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, hundreds of 5-star reviews, better than best results. They got a lot of 5-star reviews. If you guys have any need at all to get that garage door repaired or have some work done, get it replaced, give these guys a call, 501-244-3667. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. OBS, the software I use to do this content, shut off my microphone, and I didn't catch it till after that second ad played, and I started panicking. Every once in a while, OBS just does weird things. And then if it's not OBS, then it's YouTube side. Anyone who's in content creation or anybody that does this, you know what I'm talking about. It's just sometimes a little bizarre. But I'm glad I was able to fix it on the fly there. That could have been disastrous. Ty, do you think Malik could be a better quarterback if he had better development? Well, of course. Right? I mean, of course. Yeah. I think this is partly on development. Sure. Right? I think that's a big part of it. I think development is a big part of what's going on. Yeah. The other part of it is, oftentimes we've seen him. He takes the field and it's deer in headlights. He just doesn't know what to do. He's going to scramble backwards and fumble the damn football. I mean, it's really, and something could be said about, and I hate to do this hindsight stuff. I hate to do this. Something really could be said had they made the swap even just 2 series earlier. You feel like Arkansas probably walks out of this game with a dub, and we're talking about going bowling and then maybe winning a 7th game. Can they win an 8th game? Can they win 7? All of a sudden, it changes the entire dynamic of this video. And listen, I know, I think, and you guys have heard me talk about this, people have let go of the rope. Fans are done. If I'm not talking basketball, they don't give a shit anymore. And I get that. It's frustrating. I hear it in the call-ins, and I listen to the Morning Rush. I listen to Josh Bernicini, and I listen to Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett on Mondays. Fans are just, you can hear it. You had one guy call in today, and he was trying to be optimistic, and he was like, hey, I'm just happy we fought. Look, that's great. The sunshine pumping is great. That's fine. It's not even sunshine pumping. It's trying to look at the glass half full. Completely true. Chuck was making the argument this morning that, it wasn't that long ago that Arkansas went 2 years in a row without winning an SEC game. They had a horrid record. They were awful. They were terrible, right? And this year you're still on. He claims they're on the right path. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the argument that I make today. I would argue they've actually taken a step backwards. If they miss a bowl game, they've really taken a step backwards, because even for the national pundits who didn't buy into what was happening this year, even they, I don't know that anybody said this team wasn't going bowling. Anybody, even the most adamant, the people you would think that have a bias against the Razorbacks or have kind of a reputation on a national level, even they were saying, well, yeah, they're 6-6. No, I don't recall. Maybe there's someone out there and I just missed them. I don't know. There's so many now. Whether it's the bigger YouTube channels or the guys with the bigger podcast and all that. Maybe some of them said that, yeah, they're not going bowling this year. I just don't know who that was. Please point me in their direction. I want to start taking notes from them, because I don't think anybody saw this coming. Now, could they still make a bowl game? It's absolutely possible. Yes, of course. It's on the table. But like we said, anything is on the table. And look how we said this 2-3 weeks ago. Anything is on the table, right? Losing to Liberty and then finding a way to almost beat LSU. After Liberty, the only people that said that was going to be a close game were the odds makers, was Vegas. That's who was saying, look, this is going to be a closer game than you realize. Why? Was it the weather? I don't know, because I have a hard time believing that odds makers or anybody that gambles in Vegas or does any of these apps where it's at the touch, it's at your fingertips. I don't know that anybody was looking at the weather Saturday night or Sunday or Monday and said, nope, it's going to be cold. LSU's going to suck. I don't know that anybody really takes that heavily into consideration. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't gamble. Maybe you guys who do could tell me whether or not you really look at weather and see that as something that's going to greatly affect the game. Chuck seemed to believe that the cold is why Arkansas even had a shot to begin with against LSU. Maybe he's on to something. I kind of think Arkansas put their big boy pants on defense and just lived in LSU's backfield. all that talk about LSU, great. Arkansas had, 8 tackles for loss? How many sacks again? How many sacks? Like, they were living in their backfield. I don't know that that's weather. I think that's LSU walked into a rowdy Fayetteville crowd. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what the odds makers were looking at. The Fayetteville crowd they've been great this year. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know anyone who's – I know we've had people come through here and criticize the Fayetteville crowd, or a lot of the Central Arkansas people think down on on Fayetteville's crowd. Listen, I've been to Fayetteville and Little Rock games. When Fayetteville's at its loudest, it tops Little Rock. Okay, you're talking to a guy that's been to big games down in Little Rock, big games in Fayetteville. Nothing. I'm telling you, Fayetteville, especially with the way that north end zone's been designed, it's even louder. So maybe that's what the odds makers, maybe that's what some of you gamblers were banking on. Like, yeah, no, I think they're going to have 70,000+ there. By the way, I was wrong on the attendance. I said I was wrong on 2 things. I said that this was going to be a blowout win for LSU. I was definitely wrong there. Arkansas could have won this game, losing by 3 points. And I said I don't know that 65,000 people show up to this game. Now they said this morning it was 71,000 was the attendance, but I don't know, is that tickets sold or is that tickets scanned? We haven't had that cleared up yet. Hey Ty and gang, what's up? Scott Painter, how you doing, man? Hope all is well. I'll be in your neck of the woods this Saturday. Be sure to turn that heat on before I get there. Yeah, we'll try to do that. I mean, how serious do you take the weather this far out? I don't remember what the weather was saying this time last week. I don't remember. But it's saying right now that it's going to be 43 degrees as a high on Saturday. Now, this is going to be a 6 or 6:30 p.m. Did we get clarification if it's 6 or 6:30 yet? Let's just say 6, right? Let's just say it's going to be 6 p.m. Then it's going to get damn cold. I mean, for some of you, 43 is already damn cold, but it's only going to get colder as you get into the evening. Wow. Looks like Springdale, Fayetteville could get some snow. So you guys be careful around here. Starting around 5:30, 6 o'clock, looks like we could get some snow. You know how this works. It's going to get pushed back. You won't get any snow, and then like 10 o'clock, you get like a fart of snow, and then that's it, and then it moves on. I hope I don't know. Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's supposed to snow for very long. Possibly from 6 until 10 p.m. That's not much. That's not going to do anything. But you guys be careful tonight for those of you who are out and about for whatever reason on a Monday night. Not sure why our blocking scheme couldn't have made more adequate adjustments assistance for blocking number 40 on Saturday, but after waiting with reflection for 48 hours, ... Crazy Hog 91 says Chuck made it seem like it didn't matter what we did. We lose because of how great Perkins is. Yeah, and I caught some of that this morning. I usually listen to them when I'm dropping my kids off to school and coming back home, which I'm only like 10 minutes down the road from where my kids go to school at. So I'm usually able to catch about 20, 25 minutes in the morning. And yeah, Chuck, maybe he's right about the weather having that big of an impact on LSU. That certainly seems to be what people say about 2014 when LSU walked into Fayetteville and got clocked. But something that we're overlooking is that Arkansas tends to show up for LSU more times than not. That's something, no matter the weather. And I think that's something that a lot of people are they're not really focusing on. Arkansas players and staff do seem to take this game pretty serious. I do think this is more of a rivalry game for Arkansas than it is for LSU, and you could tell like every year. Yeah, sure, there's been multiple years in a row where LSU's clocked Arkansas and beat the hell out of them, sure. But how many times? I mean, you remember the year they lost 2 games. They still went on to win the title. What year was that? But Arkansas beat it. Was that 07 or 06? When was that? When the hell was that? I get my years mixed up. But they had 2 losses, and when Arkansas beat them, they thought they might be out of the running for the BCS National Championship, and they ended up still getting it. That tells you how highly they thought of that LSU team and how highly they thought of the teams that beat them that year. I don't remember who the other one was. Was it Ole Miss that year? God, so many questions. It was 07. Tercer 87 says it was 07. I think that's right. Yeah, I agree that yeah, when you're going to talk about number 40, to sit here and tell me that Dalton Wagner not playing had no effect on that, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm buying that. I just don't know. Perkins is great player. When he ran down Malik Hornsby, I'm going to tell you, I think on a straight on down the sidelines dash, Hornsby's going to beat him. If you go back and watch, Hornsby's he's veering, right? He's not dead sprinting where his body and his hips are all in the same direction. He's veering. And I think he's trying to make an attempt to look downfield, and Perkins, who has excellent speed, tracked him down. But I think side by side, come on. Malik Hornsby does have Olympic speed. Let them run 100 yards down the sidelines. Who's going to win? Let's be honest, right? But that was still a great play by Perkins. He absolutely dominated Arkansas's offensive line. Shouldn't happen. That should not happen. I don't know what's going on with the offensive line. I don't. That's the $1 million question right now. Sup, Ty? Is the weekend over? I tried to be in a coma since the Hogs lost. Well, don't do that. Casey, I like that. Make sure you guys like. We got 9 likes. I know we can do better than that. Let's get some likes. Slap that like button around a little bit. Ole Miss, we beat 30-0 in 2014 and LSU 17-0. Yeah, they blanked them back-to-back. That's, if I remember right, at that time, that's the only time that's happened in SEC history where back-to-back ranked opponents were blanked by the same team. Please, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what was said at the time. That's why I said that. That's why I sent that text to you this morning about. Oh, you mean in Discord? Yeah. Arkansas always seems to show up for the big games, but they seem to play down against teams they should beat. I miss seeing those non-con blowouts we used to have. Yeah, I think those are. I mean, this year your non-con schedule was pretty rough. I think your non-conference schedule this year was rough, but looking back on it, you should have blanked Bobby Petrino and his boys. Should have blanked them. I still don't. I know since I guess they're back ranked again. Okay. Are you guys buying that? Are you guys buying that Cincinnati should still be ranked? I haven't looked at them in a while, but they're 8-2. They have their only 2 losses are on the road. I'll give them that. They lost to Arkansas 31-24, and look at Arkansas. Arkansas may not even make a bowl game this year, and their other loss was to UCF. UCF is a pretty decent football team. I think I would take UCF if they played Arkansas right now. Neutral site, home or away. I would take UCF if I'm being honest. But they beat Navy 20-10. East Carolina 27-25. Guys, East Carolina is 3-3 in conference play, 6-4 overall. Now I don't think they're ranked they're not ranked in the playoff, but are they ranked in the in all the other standings? Let's look here. Let's take a look at at all the rankings here. Why are you giving me that? I don't care about that. Here we go. AP Top 25, they are ranked 22nd in the country. For some reason, Oklahoma State's ranked at 7-3. Okay. This is the AP this year has just been wild. The coaches poll also has Cincinnati ranked, and also they have Oklahoma State down a little bit, down to 24th. I don't think Oklahoma State should be ranked. Coastal Carolina is ranked. They're 23rd. They're 9-1. Oregon State is ranked at 7-3 in the AP. Yeah, I just don't buy that Cincinnati should be ranked. I just don't. I don't think they have any business being ranked. Tulane is still ranked. They're 8-2. They dropped 5 spots in the AP. South Dakota State in the FCS coaches poll is number 1. Again, talking football for anyone just joining. Tennessee's at 5th. So Georgia, and this is the AP Top 25. Georgia at 1, Ohio State at 2, Michigan at 3, TCU at 4, TCU at 4, Tennessee at 5, LSU at 6. LSU's been a weird team this year. Like, you still need to explain to some degree. I don't know. Florida State's not that bad of a loss. They are I think Florida State's a quality game. That's a quality team. Yeah, I don't know if they would be competitive if you want to do the argument, well, what would they do in the SEC East or even either side of the division or conference. Clemson's almost out of the top 10. They're 9-1 and they're 9th. They're the third lowest ranked one-loss team right now. They're the third lowest. Or second lowest. USC's third. I was right. Tennessee 9-1. I don't know, man. I kind of think Tennessee head-to-head with either Michigan or TCU. I feel like I would take Tennessee. That offense is legit. We could have conversations about their secondary and their defense all day long, but boy, they are something else this year. Now the SEC East not faring too well. Looking at this AP top 25, you've got Georgia and Tennessee both in the top 10. Kentucky dropped. Of course, South Carolina was on that rise. I kept telling people I'm not buying that. I'm not buying them or Kentucky. And look where we're at. South Carolina and Kentucky no longer ranked. I didn't buy Ole Miss as a top 10, top 12 team. I've been telling you guys that. They're going to hit that gauntlet. And you guys agreed because you're smart. You listen to this show. You read Hogville. Hogville writers. You read Hogville.net writers. You come here. You guys know. A lot of you already knew. You're high IQ football fans. You hear this and you're like, yeah, no, we get it. We agree. Ole Miss is 14th. I would say they're probably should they be ranked? Yeah, I think they should be. Arkansas and Ole Miss, man, a lot riding on this game if you lose to Ole Miss, then you're going to say the same thing about Missouri. All of a sudden, it does kind of feel like if you do find a way to get by Ole Miss, that Mizzou game kind of loses its cadence a little. Or it loses a little bit of that hype's not the right word. It loses a little bit of the energy. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it all, guys. I don't know. Trey Flowers was a stud. God, he was. But how about Drew Sanders, though, man? Since he plays no one of the weakest yeah, horrible schedule. Horrible schedule. And you're going to tell me an 8-2 Cincinnati team whose only two quality opponents they've lost to. They're only two quality opponents. They haven't played Tulane yet. That's going to be their third quality opponent. And as it stands right now, that would be only their second-ranked team that they've played this year, according to ESPN, as it sits now. And if Tulane will even be ranked at that point. They're 17th. And UCF, by the way, yeah, that's a quality opponent, but they're 8-2. We're not talking about an undefeated or a one-loss American Conference team. We're talking about a two-loss team. There ain't nobody in that conference that's one loss or undefeated. And again, it's non-P5. It's group of 5, right? Well, what are we doing here? Cincinnati, roster-wise, talent-wise, is between them and UCF one of the two most talented teams in that conference. And it's like those two and then everybody else, right? That's how that conference is laid out in terms of rankings. It's those two and everybody else, and it's them by a mile. There's just I don't think there's any reason for them to be a two-loss team right now. But here they are, and they're still ranked. That is not a top 25 team. I'm sorry. I'm the Jim Cramer of top 25. You're going to have to explain yourself on that one, John. Because I feel like I've been pretty dead on about some of these teams. I definitely underlooked Tennessee. I did not see that. I thought they'd be good. All right, 8-9 wins. Man, they really could finish the year out 11-1. They really could. It's kind of ridiculous how good that offense is. I mean, they blanked Mizzou. I mean, I say blanked. They beat the hell out of Mizzou. Going back to Arkansas really fast, and yeah, they are going to finish 11-1. They are. I forgot. They only have South Carolina and Vandy left. You never know. South Carolina is one of those teams, though. They're chippy. Beamer's chippy. Beamer ball can get you. you just kind of wonder does Tennessee take these last two opponents serious? I don't know. That might actually be a fascinating game, although I'm going to take Tennessee. But I'm just saying, don't overlook South Carolina has a tendency to just be a thorn in your side. They're sitting at 6-4. South Carolina is. But they went at home. They beat Missouri 66-24. Kentucky loses to Vanderbilt. I wrote this on Hogville like a month ago, talking about Vanderbilt. Like, Vanderbilt is that team that they're going to get. I'm pretty sure I either put this in writing or I said this in a Discord live, or maybe I said it here. I don't know. I might have even said it on Mark Rogers. I feel like Vanderbilt's going to be a team that gets an upset somewhere along the way. I don't even know if I call beating Kentucky an upset, because I just think they are so vastly overrated all year. Didn't buy into the hype around that quarterback, and here they are. They lose 24-21, and that was at home. Oh, it sucks, man. But hey, they're bowl eligible. Arkansas's not. Arkansas staring down the barrel of 5-7. If they don't get their act together, I wonder. You look at what Arkansas did on defense. It's back-to-back weeks. I would argue the last 6 quarters of play by Arkansas's defense, if they can continue that upward trend. KJ Jefferson, hopefully I don't know what's going on with his shoulders. I don't know, clavicle, whatever. I'm not a doctor. No idea, but hopefully he's been given the proper amount of rest and has, he's taking it easy on his arm now for, he did all last week. Obviously didn't play Saturday. If Arkansas is clicking on all cylinders, if KJ is ready to go, if his shoulder's good to go, Slusher's back, a good chance you get to see a mostly healthy defense. Slusher back. McAdoo apparently is the real deal at corner. Torrin Carter. Are we going to see Isaiah Centenia take the field at some point? Other side of the ball, but still, like, now it's like you're pulling out all stops. This is it. There are so many players you could play right now and not burn their red shirt. You've got to wonder, do they pull the trigger? They pull out all stops. If they do this, they can beat Ole Miss. I think they can. I really do. And Ole Miss is coming off Alabama. That was a very physical game if you guys watched it. Kind of makes you wonder how their quarterback's feeling. Did you guys see his head get ripped off? Was that Will Anderson that pulled that stunt? What a man. You got to be smarter than that. I honestly think when you rip off a player's helmet, that ought to be more punishable than – I mean, he ought to have to sit for a quarter or something. I don't know. That is uncalled for, dude. That could really go. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch. I think it was Will Anderson. That cannot be tolerated at all. That's the kind of stuff you're talking about. Taking head injuries serious. What about breaking a player's neck, dude? That was uncalled for. And I really think that's something that needs. Listen, I know some people don't like the idea of the game getting safer. I think concussion protocols are necessary, and I think the targeting calls are necessary, although they're so unevenly called. I'm not the only one in local media who will tell you that. They're so drastically unevenly called. But you're going to sit here and tell me that dude can do what he did and not have to sit out for at least the rest of that series or something? Get out of here, man. You're not concerned about player safety if we're not taking that shit serious. That was ridiculous. But anyways, you hope he's okay. I think Ole Miss, even at 100%, even let's say they're coming in off a bye week. I don't care. Give them a chump last week. Give them an easy game. Although that has mattered. Liberty was coming off a bye and they beat Arkansas. I get it. But if everything is falling into place, KJ's good to go. Offensive line pulls, gets its shit together up front, and they play a little bit better along the line of scrimmage on the offensive line. Trey Knox isn't getting beat. Trey Knox also, someone brought that up. Trey Knox absolutely struggled a little bit blocking. I mean, he's gotten beat a couple times this year. Not trying to put anything on him. I think he's honestly the transition to tight end. By the way, he has another year of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken, because of the COVID year, so he could come back. I think they need him to come back at tight end. Although, Ty Washington had a strong beginning of fall camp, and you've got 3 studs coming in at tight end, not all of which are going to play tight end, but I think you want Trey Knox back. But, yeah, if play similar or close to what you did on defense today, 2 penalties. Play disciplined. They actually looked like that was, honest to God, the best product they put out on the field all year in terms of looking like a well-coached team, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Do that, and you're going to win out. You're going to win out. We're sitting here talking about barely making a bowl game. Hell, you're going to go from panicking about 5 wins to 7-5 like that. But it takes it actually being done on the field. It takes it actually, it takes the execution, takes game management, takes prepare, the staff being prepared. We've seen them multiple times this year not look the part. Like just get completely outcoached. These slow starts. What is Arkansas's average now? Is it down to about 3 points per first quarter? It's been pretty atrocious. That should reflect on Anderson's draft. It won't. If he had a habit of doing that every week, Dominican Sue from Nebraska had a habit of doing that, and he still he was nasty, stepping on players. I personally think the way the defense just played against a very capable quarterback, they're making that guy out to be a Heisman. In receivers, capable quarterback and receivers, I would argue no change in the secondary is warranted. Slusher may just need to ride the bench. He's been fire a lot. I'm not sure. Are you saying that he's been fire, but you should bench him? I mean, he has an impact on the game. Now, has he been, you go back, I think it was Alabama when he got torched multiple times. Chris Paul's the future. That's a good comment right there. Chris Paul, Mike, you're right, is the future. By the way, got to meet Eagle in person, our administrator. Go Mike. Got to meet him and his lovely wife. We ate at Big Sexy Food on Emma Street in Springdale. I've never been there. Mike took a picture and posted it in our Discord, and everyone thought we were in a strip club. Hey, maybe we were. Maybe it's a strip club / burger joint. It's not, but food was good. Burgers were good. I had fun. Nice meeting him. That's 2 people I've met now out of our Discord. Rhett, a.k.a. Dragon Slayer, and now Eagle, Mike. I will be here. This is the last chance. Saturday, last game. I've been to every game for a halftime because I've got to leave at half and come home and get ready for the post game. Scroll down here. Every team has injuries. That's not an excuse. I would argue, I don't know how many position units have been as deeply affected as Arkansas's. And I'm not trying to make an excuse, but it is an excuse. But it's a warranted excuse, I would argue. Dude, I mean, you were without Slusher, Catalon. You lost Ladarius Bishop, who coming into the season was your starting corner. The list goes on. Then you lost the Johnson boys. You lost the Johnson bros. Kewan Parker. Like, the injury, I get it. I think even at full strength, they still struggled. Even at the beginning of the year before all the injuries stacked up. You guys know I've been saying that for a minute. Even before the injuries, they were struggling. But there's something to be said when you're that deeply impacted. By the way, basketball really quick. How about Arkansas? Huh? Layden Blocker, 5-star point guard, 6'3", depends on where you look. Some places have him 6'2", 175. Others have him like 6'3". But 6'3", roughly about 175, 180 pounds, number 4 point guard in the country, top 25 prospect, is a Razorback. Asane Diop and Bay Fall are supposed to pick tomorrow. I don't know. I feel like Arkansas gets them both. I mean, Kevin McPherson believes that reading his articles and listening to what he's had to say. If you guys don't, go watch Picture All Nation. He tells you everything you need to know in those videos. But I think they're in pretty good shape for both those players. Bayfall, who's a 5-star center. You guys are talking about, where's that 5-star center? Where's the 5-star center? Well, here you go. Bayfall, who's a tall, 6'10", 205, number 1 player in the state of Colorado, Denver, at accelerated schools. He's a top 15 player in the country, number 3 center in the country. And then you got Hussein Diop, who's another center, 2 bigs, a couple 6'10" guys. He's a 4-star, Diop is. I think he's a 4-star, I think everywhere, but maybe one recruiting site has him as a 5. Don't quote me on that. But, I mean, already just those 3 alone, and then with the turnover and how things are with the portal, God only knows what this is going to look like again for the Razorbacks. Recruiting, golly, dude, you got to be excited about Layden Blocker signing. Did I say commit? I'm sorry, he's been committed. He signed on Saturday. And then you have Bayfall and Hussein Diop, who we're supposed to announce, I think, tomorrow still. Bayfall, I feel pretty good about both these cats. I really do. Good players, man. Good players across the board. We got a super chat. Hang on. Brian Frazier, Ty, until players feel Arkansas football is a gateway to the NFL, we will have these problems. Yeah. That is 100%. I think you're onto something, man. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. Here's something to think about. First off, Treylon Burks, whatever you want to say, you could say, well, it didn't matter who developed the guy or who coached him. He was first-round prospect because he's just raw talent. Okay, sure. Let's not forget what his 40 time was in the combine, right? I would argue that most of why he was a first-round pick was film. And, again, for his size, his combine actually was really good. I mean, I still think he's a freak of nature. But it's not like the guy, a lot of people, I asked Chat what we thought his 40 time was going to be, and everybody had him in the 4.3s, low 4.4s. Didn't quite run the kind of 40 that we thought, right? Most of the time, the argument is with Treylon Burks is, well, it doesn't matter who coached him, he's first-round talent. I don't fully believe that. I don't believe for a second had he been here when Chad Morris was here the whole time, when he was draft eligible, I don't believe for a second he's a first-round draft prospect. Sam Pittman deserves credit for that. Do you think that had ripple effects for recruiting? Absolutely. Everyone knew going into last season this cat's going to be a first-round draft prospect. And look what you did. You hauled in some pretty, obviously Hazelwood, former 5-star player coming over from Oklahoma. Yeah, he was told great things about Fayetteville in the area while he was over in Norman, sure. But it's not like he was going to go. That kid could have gone anywhere in the country, and he chose to come to Arkansas. If you don't think that has an impact on recruiting, you haven't been paying attention. So now you've got Drew Sanders on the defensive side of the ball at linebacker. I think Mel Kiper still has him in the top 20s on his draft board, last I saw. If you don't think that doesn't have a major impact on incoming portal players, again, I ask you, what are you doing? Like, of course that's going to have a major impact. Now, some other things could happen in between. Like, you need everything to kind of click, right? Is there going to be coaching turnover in the offseason? Does Barry Odom return for a 4th year? And then obviously it doesn't really matter what Drew Sanders does because now you've got a whole different staff. And who knows, Michael Schur, who I think is a future defensive coordinator down the road, going to be pretty spectacular. I like the way he coaches. I watch him. I watched him during fall camp, and I've watched him every Monday when I go there. I'll be there today. I watch him. He is on him. Him and Smith are they're on their guys, man. I've got Smith on tape just chewing those guys' asses, just getting after them. The running backs go. If you ever see me post running backs on Twitter, you could hear him getting after those guys. And look what you're seeing on the field, the on-the-field production. Look at the on-the-field production you're getting out of the linebackers. A lot of things have to fall into place, but let's say they all stay. Let's say Odom stays. Some of you like that. Some of you hate that. Say Michael Schur stays. Drew Sanders, a first-round draft prospect. If you don't think that has an effect on some former highly rated 4 or 5-star linebacker who's currently in the portal, who's not going to look at this and go, wait a minute, not only are they getting production from the non-5 stars, but the production they are getting from their 5 stars, it's propelling them to the first round of the draft. that's going to have an effect. That absolutely will have an effect. So I agree, Brian. I agree 110% with what you're saying. Arkansas needs a dynamic. Oh, yeah, forward that can hit through. Yeah. Any suggestions? I don't know, Michael. Sounds like you know more than everyone. Why don't you tell us? You're not. I don't think you're wrong. 2 years is not enough time to fill out the roster with quality depth. Look at basketball. Yeah, okay. See, now this is where I got to draw. No, you can't do that. You can't compare sports. And I hear what you're saying, Eagle. I hear what you're saying, but you can't compare sports. You've got 22 plus roster spots you've got to fill. In this sport, in the SEC, it's even more difficult because, you can count on one hand the amount of 4-star plus talent Arkansas's recruited at the interior defensive line spot, right? Well, Alabama chews those guys up like they're nothing, right? It's a grind. Like every year they've got 4- and 5-star great highly rated defensive tackles coming in and signing. The same thing with Georgia, right? The same thing at Ohio State. Even Florida still, even when they're down, they're recruiting big time interior defensive linemen. Easier said than done in football, especially in the SEC. Being in the SEC certainly helps. The SEC is obviously a household conference around the country, around the world. I think everyone knows, that this is where it happens, right? This is where this conference is just loaded up. You say it takes 4 seasons in basketball, I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but it's difficult to compare. I mean, we're talking apples and oranges. I don't think in any capacity can you compare those two sports, or baseball for that matter. In order to open the gate, you got to hit a home run at head coach. Well, that's also debatable. We've seen really good coaches who recruited a high level at other schools. Well, I mean, you look at Oklahoma State. Again, I use them often as an example. They recruit on average, I bet they recruit in the 40s, 35th, 30th. I haven't looked this year. They might be this year or last year. I don't know where they're at. I don't know where they finished last year. But yeah, they're a good example of not great recruiting, but they win at, if they don't win 9 games in a season, they're panicking. And that could be the case this year. But they're in the Big 12, right? So you see what I'm talking about when you're comparing the two conferences. Last night, he said fall is likely a hog, but feeling less sure about okay. He may go to Colorado. Diop might. Yeah, I could see that. Our basketball team has become a blue blood type program where entire team is that good. Our football team isn't there, so depth is on coaches, and you have to do these things ASAP. If not, you felt. Yeah, again, I don't know if. Yeah, interesting takes in chat. I don't know if it's that simple. I do agree. You've got to bring in the higher tier talent. I mean, I agree 110%, but that's easier said than done. No one has ever at Arkansas recruited at a really high level. That's just never happened here. And the result is what it is, right? On the field, the result it's a reflection oftentimes of your coaching and your recruiting and what you're doing in the offseason. Now, thankfully, you have the portal, and Arkansas has killed it in the portal in all 3 sports, because it shows these kids go to college and they go, wait a minute, maybe I'm judging too many books by their covers here. Arkansas is that caliber of program that could propel me to the next level. The Hogs will get there, says Kopesky. I hope you're right. We'll see. Ole Miss lost a ton and reloaded. Same for LSU. No excuses. Hit the portal hard. You guys can only make excuses because you like Sam. Let's be careful there, Elvin. Again, you're kind of doing the same thing you did Saturday, though. You're comparing Arkansas to LSU. You can't do that. With recruiting, you just cannot do that. You can't compare Arkansas and LSU with recruiting or with turnaround success. LSU is up here. Arkansas's fighting their way up, right? They're trying to get there. It's just not as easy as some people think that it is, and that's why you got to give credit. That's why I give so much credit to Houston Nutt, to Bobby Petrino, and a couple of years to Brett Bielema early on to bring in the caliber of talent they were able to bring in. It's not easy to do here. Baseball, hell, we all know Dave Van Horn could walk into some kid's house in Alaska, and they're going to want to come down here and play. Right now, according to there's a couple big baseball recruiting sites. I think most of them have Arkansas as the number one class in baseball. Now, getting them on campus is something, getting them to sign and stay on campus and play is hard to do when you're talking about the money that's offered by these farm leagues, right? But Dave Van Horn, basketball, Eric Musselman can go coast to coast and recruit. We're seeing that. Arkansas is that caliber program. Football, it's just a little bit harder pitch. It's a little bit harder sell. Once they get here, listen, when I went to that junior day camp back in, when was that? I went with Otis Kirk. I don't remember when the hell that was, but it was junior camp. You won't believe just looking at those players' eyes, and they're just looking around at the facilities, and they're like, holy hell. Like when these kids get on campus and they realize Arkansas is actually pretty damn serious about its facilities and about football, it can change some minds. It's not like they haven't had 5 stars on campus and they were blown away and they ultimately go elsewhere. Sure. But they know Arkansas takes this sport pretty serious. It's just a lot. It's easier said than done to bring in players to get them to sign. It's easier said than done, especially when you're trying to compare them to LSU. How badly will Pittman be held accountable if the Hogs don't win? Oh, he'll get held accountable, Tusky, for sure. 110%. Ole Miss lost a ton. Oh, we already read that. Blah, 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 blah. Ole Miss is a little bit different. They're going to end up probably 9-3, 8-4. I mean, they're going to take that, but that's probably what they're going to end up. I think they may lose to Mississippi State, if I'm being real. And I think this weekend it's going to be another battle. Yeah, right now, Mike's right. We're not Ole Miss or LSU right now. That's it. That's right. We're not there yet. It's a complete rebuild. And I'm not trying to make excuses. Sam absolutely deserves every bit of criticism. Not all of it. Some of it's gone too far. I know he's been blocking people on Twitter. But he deserves a lot of criticism. I'm not sitting here trying to defend the guy or sunshine pump for him at all. There have been times this year where it's just like, what is this? I mean, we have said multiple times on this show and on Hogville, in our Discord, you guys have said it in chat, this reminds me of Chad Morris era defensive football. Or the product on the field is very reminiscent. And that might be a little bit overblown. That might be a little bit of an overreaction, sure. But, I mean, when the fans start saying it and then you're starting to hear the rumblings a little bit elsewhere, I don't know, man. So he deserves criticism, and I definitely do not think he is so far ahead of Chad Morris as a head coach. The quality of the product on the field is the best it's been since probably Brett Bielema, like year 3. They just ran into a really tough schedule, ran into a bunch of injuries, and they're still trying to recoup the talent that they've lost. I think, too, the portal has kind of thrown some of these coaches through a loop. I think Arkansas has responded well, though, there. That can't be an excuse. I think they've actually done really well in the portal. We're not on par with Ole Miss. You serious? I mean, you've seen what they've done these last 2 years, right? Now, I think this weekend, I don't know, we could find something out. We'll see. With the firing of Auburn and Kentucky, an ugly turn. Good spot to look for transfers. Listen, A&M, I think there's going to be an exodus. A&M's going to be an exodus. You better get ready. I think it's coming. I think they're going to have mad turnover. Hell, they've already got people in the portal. The rumor is Auburn the same way. They're kind of waiting. A lot of people seem to think that Lane Kiffin's the guy over there. I don't know, man. What actually happens on the field? Yes, I think we have an equal team on the field. I think that the last year or two, you can argue Ole Miss is a step above right now. Here's the difference. It's not a big leap. Like, they're not far ahead of Arkansas. I do think they're a little bit ahead. I think Lane Kiffin is the reason for that. Lane Kiffin is the X factor for the Ole Miss Rebels. Wouldn't that be great, though, if he left? I don't know how I feel about him going to Auburn. It's like, now we got to deal with him at Auburn and what he could do there. not looking forward to that. But it would be kind of funny to see that happen to Ole Miss. I would love it. I don't know about you guys. I would love it. I would love it if Ole Miss got left in the dust. And then Lane Kiffin, 3 years is I guess that's a lifetime for him at a certain job, isn't it? Because he left Tennessee after just a single year. Brian, thank you so much for the super chats, guys. I got to get into this Pittman Zoom call here in about 2 minutes. I appreciate each and every one of you Patreon supporters. I really do appreciate you guys. You do not know how much you guys make this show possible, and I really hope you guys I hope you continue being Patreon supporters. To Apex Tattoo Studio and Direct Service Overhead, thank you so much to those two sponsors as well. I will see you guys later on in the week. Woo pig.